Her man was the first to grab my waist. And I let him. Right there at the club, while she and her glittery gang of fake laughing friends whispered behind their wine glasses, mocking my old dress and my cheap heels. He slid behind me like he already knew what I needed. And when his hands slipped down and cupped me through my tight skirt, I pressed back into him and smiled, because I knew they were watching. I wanted them to see. Every damn second. Thank you so much for being here, my beautiful subscribers. You keep giving me the courage to bear it all, my body, my heartbreak, my truth. If this story burns you in all the right ways, do not forget to leave your comments and subscribe for more. Let me take you deep into this one. I promise, it gets dirtier. They used to laugh at me in high school. I was the chubby girl with thrift store clothes and too much silence. I was not rich, not trendy, not one of them. They called me things they thought I could not hear. They pushed me to the edge of bathrooms and away from tables. They took photos and posted them with captions that burned my skin. Cassie. Jules. Brielle. The trio of polished poison. I remember all their faces, especially at senior prom when I stood in the corner alone, and they danced barefoot on the stage in custom dresses, pretending they were queens. Now we were all adults. But they never stopped laughing. We ran into each other again, by chance, at a friend's birthday party last Friday. I was doing all right. I had curves now. I knew how to dress. I had a decent job and a tongue I had learned to use. But when they saw me, their eyes still gleamed with mockery. "Oh my God, is that Tessa?" Cassie said with her long fake lashes fluttering. "I thought she moved away to marry a cow or something," Jules added, giggling. "She looks like she is trying too hard," Brielle snorted. Their men stood by them, tall and handsome, drinking whiskey and looking bored. And that was when I decided. If they were still the same cruel girls from high school, I would not be the same girl they destroyed. I would be the woman who destroyed them. But not with fists. With moans. With dripping, quivering, gasping surrender from the very men they thought were loyal. The first one was Jules' man, Trevor. Big jaw. Broad chest. That quiet kind who watches instead of talks. I caught him staring at me at the bar. I licked the salt off my glass rim slow, watching him over the edge. He did not look away. "Do you want to dance?" I asked him directly. His brow lifted. "You talking to me?" "I am not talking to the wall." He looked around, saw Jules giggling across the room, completely ignoring him. And he followed me onto the dance floor like a dog on a leash he wanted to chew through. He did not even ask my name. He just put his hands low, too low, and we moved like our bodies had known each other in another life. Then his mouth touched my neck. Then my nails dug into his back. Then I whispered in his ear, "You should taste what they made fun of." I took him to my car that night. I made him moan my name so loud my windows fogged up and my knees bruised. And then I sent him back to her, messy, breathless, and ruined. The second was Brielle's man, Jason. The cocky one. The one who thought he was God's gift to women, always dressed sharp with designer watches and lips full of lies. He made the mistake of thinking he was seducing me. But he never realized I planned it all. I met him again at a wine tasting event 2 weeks later. He was alone. I walked in with a tight satin dress, no bra, and lips painted the color of fresh sin. "You clean up nice," he said. "I clean up better than they do," I said, sipping red wine slow. He followed me to the rooftop lounge. I unzipped my dress halfway before we even reached the top step. When his tongue was on my thighs and he was whimpering like a spoiled dog hungry for meat, I tilted his head back and made him say my name. Twice, before I let him finish. I left him collapsed against the lounge couch with a lipstick stain on his zipper. I never looked back. That night, alone in my room, I looked in the mirror. Not to cry. Not to regret. But to smile. Because I realized something. The same mouth they used to mock me, now made their men whimper, beg, and lose control. And I was not done. Because Cassie's man was the real prize. And I had saved him for last. I made her man whisper my name while she called him from the next room. And he answered her with his fingers still inside me. Cassie was always the ringleader. The loudest laugh. The cruelest tongue. The one who once spilled soda on my only white dress at school and called it a favor. I saved her man for last, not because he was the most handsome. Not because I needed to prove anything. But because I wanted her to feel it. Feel it in her chest, her gut, her throat. Feel it in the bed she shared. In the sheets she ironed. In the breathless gasps her man would give me, while her perfume still clung to his skin. His name was Mark. Clean-cut, 6'2", and faithful by reputation. A doctor. The kind every mother dreams her daughter marries. But I had seen the way his eyes traveled when Cassie turned her back. He looked like the kind of man who suppressed too much. And I was the woman to unlock him. I started with a message. Not to him. To her. A simple DM on Instagram. You look tired lately, Cass. Too bad your man is not keeping you satisfied. No name. No face. Just a poke. Just a push. I knew she would spiral. I knew she would get clingy. And I knew that would push him right into my hands. 3 days later, I ran into Mark at the gym. I made sure of it. Tight yoga pants. No panties. Tank top soaked in sweat. I walked past him and, accidentally, dropped my water bottle. He picked it up. I know you, he said, surprised. I doubt it, I smiled. You just know of me. That was enough to stir the memory. He blinked. You are Tessa, right? The one your fiancé's friends used to bully for breathing? That Tessa? I asked, wiping my chest with a towel slowly. He looked caught. I loved it. Look, I am sorry if they were ever. Save it, Mark. I do not need your apology. But maybe I could use your company. That night, he invited me to his place. Claimed Cassie was out of town on a girls' wine weekend. I laughed inside. The only thing getting tasted tonight would be me. His apartment was tidy. Cold. Like a space designed for guests, not lovers. I sat on his couch while he poured drinks. I watched his hands tremble just slightly. I wore a black mini dress. No bra. No panties. Just skin under soft fabric and a scent he could not ignore. You sure about this? He asked as he handed me the glass. I am sure of one thing, I said. She laughed at me for years. So you are going to make her moan for mercy. Through me. He swallowed hard. I stood up, placed his glass down, and walked toward him. I do not want you gentle, I whispered. I want you hungry. He lifted me like he had been starving for decades. He threw me against the wall, lips bruising mine, fingers gripping my hips like he owned me. But he did not own me. I owned him now. Every thrust, every moan, every gasping cry of Tessa, oh God. Tessa was a knife in Cassie's chest, and I twisted it deeper each time I called her name in mockery. Is this what she gets, Mark? I hissed. Soft touches and silent nights? She never lets me do this, he groaned, biting my neck. Never, this deep, never like you. I am not her. I am everything she is not. He laid me bare on her sheets. He kissed me where she probably told him not to. He begged me for permission Cassie never gave him. And I gave it all. With my nails in his back, my legs around his waist, my name in his mouth. He screamed it when he came. Twice. And then it happened. Cassie called. His phone buzzed. Loud. On the nightstand. I picked it up before he could. I answered. "Hey baby," her voice came through, sweet and sticky. Mark froze. Still buried deep inside me. "She cannot hear," I whispered, grinding on him, "unless you want her to." He grunted. Eyes wide. Then narrowed. He stayed inside me. "Hey babe," he said into the phone, breath shaky. "Miss me already?" she giggled. I stared at him and tightened around him. He bit his lip. "Why yeah. Just tired," he managed to say. He was shaking when I pulled him back down on top of me. "Good night, baby," Cassie chirped. Mark ended the call. And exploded inside me like a man possessed. Afterward, I left her a gift. I stole one of her red lipsticks and kissed her mirror with a single word. Moaned. She would figure it out. And that was the best part. Because the war was not over. It had just begun. They cornered me at the bridal shower. Their faces twisted with rage. But their men? They were already on my private messages. Begging for another taste. The aftermath was delicious. Cassie exploded first. I expected nothing less. A storm in stilettos. She posted a cryptic story online: "Betrayal never comes from enemies. Lesson learned." Jules followed with a subtweet: "Some girls will sell their dignity for 5 minutes of male attention." Sad. Brielle sent me a DM. A single snake emoji. I wanted to laugh. But I did not. Because I was saving my smile for the final act. The moment came 2 weeks later. Cassie's bridal shower. An invitation I should not have received, but someone added me to the guest list by mistake. Or fate. I showed up. White dress. No bra. Glossy lips. Heels that said, "I dare you to look away." The second I walked in, the room froze. Cassie dropped her champagne glass. Brielle whispered, "No, she didn't." Jules stood slowly from the gift table, lips pursed, ready to strike. I gave them one small wave, then walked directly to the dessert table, picked up a chocolate-dipped strawberry, and licked it, slow. "You have some fucking nerve," Cassie hissed, finally storming over. "I have nerve," I said, licking my fingers, "and your man's messages. Want to see the one where he said I taste better than your cooking?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Even Cassie's aunt covered her mouth. But I was not done. I turned to Jules and pulled out my phone. "Want to hear Trevor's voice notes? The ones where he calls me his healing space while moaning into the mic?" Jules took a step back, eyes glossing with tears. I looked at Brielle. "Or Jason's picture collection. You should really check his hidden folder. I think there is one with my heels around his neck." Someone choked on champagne. Someone else whispered, "What the hell is happening?" That was when Cassie snapped. She lunged. Nails swinging. Spit flying. But Mark, yes, the groom-to-be, stepped between us. "Cassie, stop." "Oh, now you defend her," she screamed. He looked at her. Then looked at me. And said nothing. That silence? It shattered her more than any insult could. I walked out of that party with my head high, hips swaying, and a smile carved into my face like it was painted on by fire. But outside? Outside was where it really ended. Because I saw them. All 3 men. Waiting in Mark's black SUV like they had planned it together. Trevor in the passenger seat, Jason in the back, Mark behind the wheel. They did not say a word. I got in. And we drove. The cabin was about an hour away. Private. Secluded. Candlelight waiting. A single king bed. "Are you sure about this?" Mark asked me quietly, his voice thick. "I was sure the moment they laughed at me," I said, pulling my dress over my head and dropping it on the cabin floor. "What happened that night? They will never know. They will never hear the way their men moaned my name, one after the other. Never see the way I was worshipped, tasted, filled, devoured. They will never erase the truth. That I made them feel everything their perfect women never could. And in the end, I won. Not because I broke them, but because I made their men whole.